Hey guys! I normally wouldn't be filming a wrap-up video halfway through the month afterwards, but I read 5.5 books in August, so I figured I should probably talk about them at some point. And this is like the first time in September that I haven't been busy with something. So here we go. These are the books that I read in August. The first book I read last month was Princess Academy by Shannon Hale. This is actually the second time I've read Princess Academy because its sequel, Palace of Stone, was coming out at the end of August and I needed to remember everything that was going on. The author, Shannon Hale, does a lot of fairy tale retellings, and this one isn't a fairy tale itself, but it's kind of in that same vein where it's very cute and the characters are really great, and it's a lot of fun. It's a light, easy read. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. The next one I read was Specials by Scott Westerfeld. If you don't know, this is a dystopian series, and it's set in a world where at the age of 16 everybody gets a surgery that makes them look pretty. It makes them all kind of look the same, and it has some side effects to it as well. So this is the last one, and I wasn't exactly how I thought it was going to end, but I really liked what he did with the end of the series, and I thought it was really fitting. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read probably one of my favorite books I've read all year, and it was Throne of Glass by Maas. This one is about a girl who's been trained as an assassin, and she's been working at like a slave camp in the salt mines for a year, and she's taken from there to be placed in this like competition to become the king's champion, and it's really great, and lots of action things that go on, and it's kind of got some fantasy elements, and like there's like a folklore legend as well, and just the relationships between some of the characters are just really fantastic, and it's kind of scary in some parts too as well. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, and I loved it so much. The next one I read was Seraphina by Hartman. I don't read a lot of fantasy books, but this definitely was in that genre, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. It's set in a world where there are normal humans, and then there are these people who can turn into dragons, or they're actually dragons who can turn into people, and there's this conflict between these two different species, and it's kind of like how they try to get along, and just different things like that. There's a lot of politics involved with like how everything works out, and it kind of gets a little complicated in some parts, but it's really interesting just how this kind of plays out, and it's really, I was a lot more into this than I thought I was going to be to start out with. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. The next book was one that I've had on my bookshelf for a few years now, and I've never read it, and I just picked it up one day and thought, okay, let's give it a try. And that was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. So this book is the first book in the Infernal Devices, which is like the prequel series to the Mortal Instrument series. So I've read the first 2 in the Mortal Instrument series, and I've enjoyed them, but I enjoyed this one so much more than I liked the Mortal Instrument. That's not saying that the Mortal Instruments isn't a good series, because it's really good series, and it's a good fantasy adventure novel. But this one is like everything I like about the Mortal Instrument series, but it's set in London in the Victorian ages, and it's different than the Mortal Instrument series, and there's different characters. So I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, and I wasn't going to read the second one right away. This is the half a book that I read in August, but as soon as I finished this one, I downloaded Clockwork Prince on my Nook, and I read that. It's a half a book because I read only like half of it in August, but Clockwork Prince I finished like a week ago or so, and I love that one as well, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm very, very interested to see how she finishes up the series with Clockwork Princess, which comes out in March, which is a long way away. So that was what I read in August. Hopefully when I do a September one of these, it won't come so late in the month afterwards, but we'll have to see how that goes. So that is all for now, and until next time, I will see you guys later.